and I'll just continue to monitor.
Well, welcome everyone to the fourth grade. This is how we start the school year.
¿Quién dice? ¿No entiendes lo que yo dice? Sí.
What? Okay. Sorry, folks. So, welcome to fourth grade. We are your fourth grade teachers. My name is Miss Bender. I'm Miss Navas.
I'm Mr. Eaton.
And I'm Miss Lau. Nice to meet you all. I'm going to jump in and introduce myself too. Hi, fourth graders. It's Megan Fitzgerald. I'm so excited to see a lot of you guys again. If you had me for third grade, you're going to have me again this year for fourth grade.
Nice. So one of the questions is, what do we learn in the fourth grade? And all the fourth grade teachers and teachers in the building have been working really hard thinking about what school is going to look like. And something that's very important to us is that we continue to learn all the things that fourth graders are expected to learn during the school year. And that's going to be the same whether you are in a blended classroom or if you're remote. And so in the fourth grade, we're going to be doing a lot of the same work that we would do if school was the same. We are going to continue to read novels and short stories and articles. We're going to be analyzing those, thinking of characters and themes. We're going to be writing narratives, stories, fiction. We're going to be writing persuasive essays and literary essays. And we're also going to be doing a lot of math where we continue to build on the knowledge that you already have for place value, multiplication, division, and fractions. So regardless if you're blended or remote, we're still going to be teaching the same things and giving that material to you as best as we can.
Hi guys, I'm Miss Navas. So I know that Chloe already asked this question. She asked about homework, and every day, whether you're remote or blended, you're gonna have to read 30 minutes every day, and that's our goal. We're gonna start with 30 minutes, but throughout the school year, we'll be increasing that.
Third graders, you worked on Class Dojo. That's where you submitted your assignments to your teachers. That's where you were given your assignments by your teachers. This year, we are going to be using Google Classroom. For the caregivers who are on this call, we will still continue to use Classroom Dojo to communicate, but all of the students' assignments for remote students, as well as the blended students who will be learning from home on Fridays, you will always log into Google Classroom daily. At your listening conferences, which Ms. Lau and Mr. Eaton, as well as Ms. Navas and myself, have posted information in Class Dojo about, we will give you a login, an email, and a password to help you log into that during our conference. Caregivers, you are also able to connect to Google Classroom where you can receive daily or weekly summaries to keep up with the work that your child is completing. Additionally, Ms. Nava touched upon this when she was talking about homework. Every fourth grader's homework is to read every single day. Weekends, holidays, every day we read. I know a lot of you are familiar with ethics. A lot of you used it last year to read third grade. You will still have access to ethics. Additionally, we are strongly encouraging that every family apply for a library card. And the way you can do this is by the Simply E app. It gives you access to audiobooks. It gives you access to actual books. I personally applied for this card this summer. The process was super easy. You also also don't have to worry about late fees if you can't return the library book on time. They just kind of take it back. And we will continue to go over this more in depth during our listening conferences and student orientation.
So a question about how we take attendance every day. For those of you who are in blended learning, so you're coming to the school, attendance will be taken by 8:30 in the morning, and if you come after that, then you will be marked late. And for those of you who are in remote learning, we will be taking attendance through every interaction in the day, which means that we will be taking attendance for our morning meeting, during reading, writing, during math, and during our closing day. We'll also be taking attendance during all of our small groups and conferences. So you want to make sure that you pay very close attention to the schedules that we give to you, and that you're logging into all of our meetings. Attendance will be taken at every session.
So since we'll be taking attendance each day at 8:30, we will also be starting each day with a morning meeting. Blended students will start a morning meeting in person. Morning meeting will happen remotely via Zoom. And morning meeting is really important to be at. Not only does it start the day, school starts at 8:30, and it allows us to take attendance, but it allows us to also start building relationships as best we can. As we all know, life is not the same, and interactions with our peers, our friends, is very different and very limited. And so we are trying to create a way for students to interact as best they can. We will be checking with students with how they're feeling, thinking about emotions and personal needs during these times, talking through those emotions and how we can cope. And also thinking about how do we build a team or build relationships when we're not necessarily with one another. How do we build those skills to interact online via these platforms? How do we have these interactions when we're in a life that kind of limits us to those interactions? And so this is a time where we're going to try to build that in as best as possible. So that's another reason we really want to start the morning off, just checking in, seeing where we're at, and building upon all of those.
And then, of course, we'll end each day with a closing circle, and that's for kids who are in blended learning and for remote learning. And your closing circles are going to sound very similar every day. Every day we're going to ask you, how did today go? What went well? And what can we do tomorrow to make tomorrow even better than today? It's super important to wrap the day this way, and this way we can end the day on a positive note and really gather as a community and build off of this.
From the big yard. At 8:30, your teachers will come down. You'll be lined up in your spots, which we will go over the first day of school, and we will walk up to the classroom. There will be other entrances and exits around the school, but for fourth grade, you will always arrive to school in the big yard and be dismissed from the big yard. We all have those mornings where sometimes we're running a little late. That's okay. If you are a little late, you are going to report directly to the main office. Caregivers, you will be asked to stay outside of the school building. So you'll give your husband, your kids outside the school building. Students will walk in and go right to the main office. Vilma and Sandra will not be at that desk in front of the security office writing passes. Everything will take place in the main office.
So we also know that there are times where you might need to pick up your child, right, a little bit early. And if that is the case, we just ask that you please call ahead, call the office, and let them know that you're going to pick up. Or will then bring that student outside at the time that you decide to pick them up. So again, let us know. So for for our blended learning students that are going to be in this classroom with myself and Ms. Bender, Monday through Thursday, we're going to be in this classroom, we're going to be in school, and then Fridays is going to be a little different. On Friday, you will be remote learning, so we will still be learning, we will still keep to our schedule, but you'll be doing that from home on your computers or technology.
Wearing. So, whenever students are in the school building, we are going to be wearing a mask. This is recommended by the CDC. There is an appropriate way to wear a mask. Just like this, where your nose is covered, your mouth is covered, and it's next to your face. I know that some parents have had questions like, well, what happens, or what if my child doesn't feel comfortable wearing the mask? Well, we've got today, tomorrow, Friday, the weekend to start practicing wearing the mask now, because students inside the school building and when we go outside for recess will be required to wear the mask all day.
Fountains. So this year we won't be drinking out of our water fountains, but we are encouraging all students to bring their own labeled water bottle each and every day. We will tell them where they can place this in the classroom, and they can take water breaks throughout the day. We even have a designated slot in the classroom where one child at a time can take off their mask and drink their water. After we do this, after we have our sip of water, we're also going to be either washing our hands or sanitizing our hands. Speaking of hand washing, we're going to be hand washing and sanitizing our hands throughout the day. And we have hand sanitizer in the classroom. We have a dispenser over there at the entrance of the classroom. And we're going to be washing our hands when using the bathroom, entering the building in the morning, entering the classroom, leaving the classroom, before and after meals. So everyone will be doing this, Ms. Ben and I included. Now we're going to talk about our weekly schedule, and it looks a little different for both classrooms.
So, the first schedule you are seeing is for blended learning students. As you will see, we have a start time of 8:30. Every day of the week except Monday, we will be doing an opening circle as stated before. As you can see, students are still receiving science, art, music, gym. We will be doing every single subject every single day. I know for a big concern of students is, when can I play with my friends? If you look at from 12:15 to 12:35, we do have time to be in the big yard for recess, so that has to stay. And finally, you see at the end of the day, our day ends at 2 o'clock, and before we dismiss, we will do a closing circle.
And then some information for our remote learning students.
So for our remote students, this is what our schedule will look like. For every morning, you'll click onto a Zoom link where we will meet for a morning meeting, and then we will start to transition into number talks, problem solving. We will also be learning math through that Zoom link. We will also be doing read aloud and reading lessons, writing, and our community circles. So you'll always be logging into that one Zoom link, and then Miss Lau and I will be breaking us into smaller groups, so you don't have to worry about clicking around and doing all of these other things. You'll always be coming to the Zoom link for all of your lessons.
And then some frequently asked questions about remote learning. Some kids wonder, well, what should I wear to remote learning? Well, kids, wear what you're comfortable in. Make sure that it's something you're okay with people seeing you in on video. Make sure that you are comfortable to work in that, in whatever you're wearing that day. Can I eat during lessons? What if I get hungry? Sure, you can eat as long as you can still participate. So you want to make sure that you're eating food that is not going to spill all over your device. You want to make sure that you're eating food that's not going to crunch while your mic is unmuted. So yes, you can eat, but make sure you're eating something where you can still hear words, you can still participate. Another question is, well, what if I need to use the bathroom during a lesson? Well, kids, we're going to ask you to do your best to use the bathroom when you're doing your independent work. But of course, sometimes we have, you just have to go to the bathroom. In that case, go quickly and come back, right? Our lessons are not that long. So if you're on for a long time, you're probably going to miss out on a lot of learning. Of course, if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to go. Come back quickly. Well, what if I miss a lesson? Well, fourth graders, if you miss a lesson, you miss some learning. And of course, your teachers will do our best to try to catch you up. We know that we're learning a lot of stuff every day, and it's not always possible to catch you up. And so you want to make sure that you attend all of your lessons the same as you were attending school in person. And then, finally, what if I don't want to turn on my camera for a lesson? Well, we would prefer if you turn on your camera. So there are things that you can do to make yourself more comfortable having your camera on. For example, you can set a virtual background that you like. You can set up a safe space in your home that you're comfortable sharing. But then there are some days where you're just like, man, my hair looks terrible today, or I'm just not feeling like I want to be on a video, and that's okay. We're okay with that. But you want to make sure that even when your video is off, that you are participating actively. That means that you are sharing your ideas and your questions in the chat. That means that you are unmuting your mics. There are lots of different ways to participate in these lessons. Just make sure that you are always participating actively. Finally, caregivers, please make sure that you're checking Dojo. Remember that our students will be logging into Dojo anymore, they're logging into Google Classroom, but caregivers, please make sure that you're checking Dojo regularly, because we will be sending you information on Class Dojo. For example, we send you information about listening on Dojo, we send you information about listening conferences and supporting Dojo, so make sure you're checking regularly, and of course, reach out to us if you ever have questions. That is the end of our prepared presentation. We want to leave just a little bit of time for students and caregivers to ask questions. Feel free to ask questions in the chat or unmute yourself to ask.
Ms. Lau, we do actually have some questions in the chat from earlier. One of the questions is, and I believe this is coming from a blended learning family, the question is, if we're not allowed in the building, how can we see the actual setup of the classroom? For blended learning families, Ms. Navas and I, we can totally show you the classroom. I mean, even right now, we have desks that are very far apart, but we would be more than happy to give you like a virtual tour of the classroom. And the other question was, are kids expected to play in the mask? Isn't it already hard for them to breathe in it? And the answer is yes, we do expect them to play with the masks on. And if breathing is a concern, we should definitely talk about that more during our listening conferences. Francis, what's that?
Oh, like you said in the class, if we're hungry, can like eat something like that could make a mess or could spill. So like so we could like still eat like vegetables, fruits, all of that.
Ms. Navas, do you want me to take this one? So there is time for students who are learning in school to eat breakfast in the classroom. What that will look like is students will come in, breakfast will be delivered to the classroom. Ms. Navas and myself will remain masks on, face shield on. Students will take off their masks at their seat and eat their breakfast. Latecomers, if you need to eat breakfast, we are working on a system to ensure that your child can eat. That might occur in the mask off area. So I'm just going to tilt my computer a little bit. You see that little curtain. That is a designated area in the classroom where students, if they need a mask break, they can go, take off their mask. There will be Purell there, Clorox wipes there, tissue, like the full cleaning station. So after students are done taking off their masks, they can just quickly wipe it down.
Lulani, you commented in the chat that you're a new student. Well, welcome to PS 142. We're so excited to have you here. What to expect? Well, it's a lovely school, and when you meet with your teachers for your listening conference and your student orientation, they will set you up on everything that you need to know.
It's really important to take attendance for this.
If you have more time, of course, feel free to send your teachers a dojo message, okay? And then our class. In the remote class, there are 28 students. And then blended learning class in there, Ms. Thomas?
There are 9 students. We have another question about uniform. So whether you are remote 100% or in blended, we want you to feel comfortable in your clothes. So if you feel comfortable wearing a uniform in school and at home, do it. If you don't feel comfortable, talk to your family.
Remote learning officially starts, same as in-school learning, on Monday, September 21st. Many people have concerns about logging into Classroom and all of these platforms. Do not worry. At your listening and student orientation conferences, your teachers are going to help you log into all of these platforms to make sure you know how to get into whatever platform you need for the first day of school. So do not worry.
Should they bring in their iPads or whatever they have? Should they bring that into school with them?
Yes, they should bring their device.
Okay.
And then a question about how the food will be handed out. It's a bag lunch or bag breakfast. Lulani asks, where can I get my Google Classroom account? So for those of you who are remote learners, today in the schoolyard up until I think 1:30, we're distributing that information. So there are take-home kits for you, as well as all of your login information. Later today, Mr. Ian and I will send out a dojo with all of your login information, like for Google Classroom, for Zern, all of those things. And again, will help you log into those, so don't worry. And for those of you who are in person in school, you will receive that information on Monday, right?
And during listening conferences. So families who have their listening conferences today, you've already received your welcome information with instruction to just have that information readily available because we will be using it to help you today.
So remember, the first day of school is Monday, September 21st at 8:30 in the morning. I hope you're all getting your sleep schedules back in order. I know it takes some time to get used to going to bed early again and to waking up early again. Believe me, I too have been trying to get my sleep schedule back in order. You want to make sure you're fully awake by 8:30, right? You don't want one of those things where, for those of you who are in remote, you wake up at 8:29 and at 8:30 you're like, oh gosh, time for school. You have to be ready for school, okay? 8:30. September 21st, Monday.
Elijah, are you raising your hand?
Yeah.
Go for it.
So,
No.
what was my question? Come on.
Forgot his question.
Well, that's okay. Will you ask it when it comes back to you?
Yes.
Okay. There is another question in the chat. In reference to bringing devices to school, if you have a DOE device, you will want to bring that to school. I know that some families have personal devices that they use March through June. We can come up with a plan together during your listening conference to ensure that your child is prepared, whether they're in school or at home.
And then, is there a lot of homework? No, there is not a lot of homework. The homework is mainly reading. We start with half an hour of reading and then we gradually increase it throughout the school year. We really believe, fourth graders, that it's really important for you to have time to play, and it's really important for you to have time to have fun with your friends and your family, which is why we don't give you a ton of homework. Something else that you can do after the official school day is if you notice that you didn't finish some of your schoolwork, you can finish that for homework, but we will also give you enough time during the school day to complete your work. Same for math. Are you asking Ramphis if there's math homework? Yeah, so really your only math homework will be is if you didn't finish your math classwork during the school day.
I really like math.
Me too.
Me too.
Corey, are you raising your hand to ask a question? Corey's mom or Corey? Whoever wants to speak, you may speak.
Hi, I'm Corey's mom. I have a question. My question is for them, they're gonna do it different. The meeting with them before they start the subject.
So every day we'll start every subject with a whole group lesson, and so we'll all you're in remote learning with us, so you'll join us on that same Zoom link we always meet on, and then Mr. Eden and I will be with the whole class, and then we're gonna break out into 2 smaller groups and teach the lesson in 2 smaller groups. After that, we break out into even smaller groups, and we work with small groups where students one-on-one on whatever they need to work on, and then other students have time to work independently, and it's gonna look like that for every subject. We'll give you the schedule, don't worry. I know right now it sounds like, oh my goodness, I have to log into so many meetings and it sounds like we'll be online so much, but we meet for about 10 minutes per lesson, and then kids can go off and practice where they're meeting with teachers one-on-one. But yeah, we'll meet the whole group, and then they'll have time to work for every subject.
Okay, perfect. No, I was just wondering because I'm working, so he'll be home. So I was wondering how he would want to get to it.
Yeah, and we'll also make sure that students who are learning at home have the support they need so that caregivers don't have to sit next to them and work with them all day, because we understand you have a lot of things to do too. And so we're going to make sure that they know exactly what they need to do, and if they don't know, there will be ways that they can ask us for help. There will be no issue with that, so don't worry.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Nolan, did you have a question? Okay. Francis, do you have another question?
I actually have a question.
So what about like you really have to go to class this day? What about that?
That's a good question, Ramphis. So last year, for students that worked with me, I would send out email links and you would have your time and have to log on and remember that information. This year, I'm going to join the class. So if you're remote, I would join with Miss Lau and Miss Ian during, writing or during read aloud. So I'll meet you in the classroom, and then we're going to break out into breakout rooms. So you don't have to keep track of your schedule as a kid, and grown-ups don't have to keep track of it either. I'm kind of keeping track of it, and I'm going to make sure I'm meeting you where you're already going to be at. So if you're already going to be in school, I'll come in to your class during writing or whatever, just like before March. And then if you're online, I'll meet you in your virtual classroom.
And then I see. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So when I turned on the laptop, I noticed that they had like Minecraft education, and my son really wanted to like get into that. And is that something we have to wait for you guys to assign him to do, or is that something we can do because it won't allow me to do it? So do I go to the tech support tomorrow and by the school, or like how do I get access to that? It's on the tablet. It was there when I turned on.
So you definitely don't have to wait for us to do that. That sounds like a lot of fun, and if you want to do that, go ahead. I would ask tech support because I'm not sure about how to log into Minecraft. Mr. Eden, Ms. Bender, Ms. Navas, any idea?
Yeah, because it's a Minecraft education edition, and it's like asking you like math, science. It's like things, and he was so excited to do it, but we couldn't. It said that I wasn't eligible for it. I don't know why. I'm assuming that like, I don't know, I guess tech support tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That's my question.
I think Lulani's mom has a question.
Thank you. I do know you guys are going to be using certain apps, I guess, for when they do remote learning on Friday. What apps are they using? Because she used to go to charter school, so I don't know if it's going to be like the same apps since she's in you guys' school now.
So all of Lulani's assignments will appear on Google Classroom. Google Classroom is the big one. I know if you're working on a tablet, sometimes it prompts you to download the Doc app or the Google Slides app. So you can download the Google add-on app, like Docs and Slides, but that's really where she's going to do the bulk of her work. We will be using Zern.org for math. I believe third grade used Zern last year. So third graders, if you were at 142, this should be familiar. But again, we will go over that with students during learning and during our listening conferences. There is a question in the chat. Again, this pertains to blended learning. It's a question about ventilation. The question, or it says, how's the ventilation in the school? I know they tested schools in windows and air conditioners. How does that work when it gets cold? That's a really good question. So currently, all of the windows are open in our classroom, and it is a little chilly. I do wish that I brought a sweater today. The windows will remain open every day, all day. It's cool outside right now, so we don't have the air conditioners on, but there might be times where we have to have the air conditioners on to continue to circulate the air. In terms of the ventilation report in the building report that has been made online, that has been made public to view online, I will have to ask Ms. Gutman exactly how to retrieve those reports, but that can be made readily available to you.
I noticed a question in the chat from Raquel, and it says, if I'm remote, how will I get information about the lockdown? I'm not sure what that means. Do you mind explaining what you mean? Okay, feel free to dojo us that question, and we're so happy to answer it. Do you create an email for us for Google Classroom? Yes, we have email addresses for you that are through the Department of Education, and so you will receive all of that information. Remember, today on Dojo, we will send out all of your login information, and we will help you log in during your listening conference and student orientations. And then, do you need the student code for Dojo? You don't need the student code for Dojo because students will not be logging into Dojo. Remember, we're only contacting caregivers on Class Dojo.
Do we have to come back tomorrow?
We don't have a whole fourth grade meeting tomorrow, but you do have to come back for your appointment for your listening and student orientation meeting. Okay?
Another very good question.
Yeah. Well, fourth graders and families, it is almost 12:15 and we know everyone is super busy, but here's what we would like you to do. If we have answered all of your questions for now, feel free to log off this meeting, and if you still have any questions remaining, we'll head back and you can stay in this chat and ask us those questions. And then if you're anything like me, I can never think of questions to ask on the spot, and later when the meeting is over, I have questions. And so if you have a question that comes up later, please feel free to send a Dojo message to your teachers. We're so happy to answer your questions. Okay, so if you don't have any questions remaining, so nice to meet you. Can't wait to meet with your listening conferences at this time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Hi, Carlos. Hi, Samuel.
Carlos.
Tell if Eli's there if he's frozen. Hi, Eli. He might be frozen.
Maybe.
Or he did the TikTok thing where he puts up a picture of himself and leaves. You have to watch out for them.